Mental disorders affect students around the world and can come in many different forms. Depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and many more. 20% of teens between the ages of 13 and 18 suffer from one of these mental health disorders. So most teens, whether directly or indirectly, will be affected in some way. Mental disorders affect students around the world and can come in many different forms. Depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and many more. 20% of teens between the ages of 13 and 18 suffer from one of these mental health disorders. So most teens, whether directly or indirectly, will be affected in some way.
I've definitely seen an increase from my first year till now on kids and the effects that both depression and anxiety have on them. So I would say overall there's just been a general increase. For some kids it can be really debilitating. It can prevent them from wanting to come to school altogether, or when they're here it's hard to focus because they're either feeling anxious or just really down or hopeless, things like that. So it kind of runs a spectrum through, it just affects them a little bit where they can maybe get some help or even just figure out ways to treat it themselves, all the way up to, suicide or something like that. So I would say it's definitely had an increase on the way it affects kids. It affects everybody a little bit differently. I think it also depends on their protective factors. So some of the things like if they have support at home or friends they can depend on or something they're looking forward to or things that they're involved in or feeling like part of the community, those type of things can help. If they're lacking those things along with anxiety and depression, it can really make things worse.
What would you say are treatment options for those people that are suffering from these issues?
I would say, here at school, we really depend on the kids to come tell us if they're worried about another friend. Some kids will come into the counseling office themselves and say, wow, I'm really struggling with these things. So if we do hear from those things, we can be a touch point person here at school. If they're anxious and they need to leave the classroom, they can come here, debrief, chill, relax, get themselves composed and get back to class. But really we're a short-term kind of crisis management type situation. So normally we would refer them out for either therapy, usually starting with therapy. A lot of times kids will go to a therapist, and then that therapist may refer them to a psychiatrist to get some medication or something like that if they feel like that's the track they want to go. We always encourage kids to do other natural things like, are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating healthy? Are you exercising? Those are some natural ways that kids can help improve their mood, some anxiety and other symptoms related to both.
Okay, is there anything that either of you would like to ask?
Do you know anyone close to you that's personally affected by this, and how has it affected you?
I do. I've had family members. My own husband has some anxiety. And it can be hard to have a loved one or a friend who's dealing with it because there's an immense amount of pressure to be there to support them. But you can't fix them always. That's got to come from within. So it's a day-to-day role I play to be supportive to him and to be a listening ear for him to sound things off of. So absolutely. It's affected him in all kinds of ways. I mean, in work, it's the stress increases. It's often a cycle. So the work increases the stress, which increases the anxiety, which makes work harder, and then it goes in a big circle. So yeah, I think most people would be shocked at how many people are affected by these things on a day-to-day basis. I think because it goes back to that stigma that we've been working so hard to break, is that, people are ashamed to talk about it, but it's a day-to-day struggle for a lot of people. So.
Anything else? All right, well, is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, I think it's great that you guys are working on projects like this. It only helps the stigma when you get more information and education out there about what it is and treatment options and things like that. So I appreciate you guys doing that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so our topic was mental health and how it affects people here at Blue Valley Northwest. I was focusing mainly on anxiety and depression, and we learned from some statistics that I looked up, it affects up to 20% of the people in our population. And so in my newscast, I interviewed a few different people, like my dad.
So when I think of mental health, I think of a person's ability to live and exist in this world, to cope with issues, and to have a positive outlook and be successful in life.
For instance, and then some people that go here to Blue Valley Northwest, like Sasha.
People here at Blue Valley Northwest do not understand the importance of mental health because there's tons of people at the school dealing with mental health issues every day. You never know that the person sitting next to you could be going through something difficult.
Sammy and Reed.
I believe that like 20% of Northwest population suffers from mental illness because I feel like a lot of people suffer from depression. They just put up a good front and you can't actually tell.
I think probably around 25% does because never really know who's affected by it and who's not.
And a few other people. And I just wanted to get their opinions on the different issues and how they affect people here, along with how they feel.
Right. Mental disorders are a wide range of conditions that affect mood and thinking.
I think we've all seen that stress can affect teens and worse than their mental.
31% of white children and youth receive mental health services, compared to 13% of children of color.
I think especially in Blue Valley. In Blue Valley, a lot of people take stressful classes, and a lot is expected from them, and I think that has an effect on people's mental health.
Some ways to get help would be to either go to the Kansas City Center for Anxiety Treatment, hang out with friends, or spend some time with family. Forgot about the number that you can call that's inside the End the Stigma wristbands. So the number for the 24-hour hotline is 1-800-273-8255. Or you could text 741741.
I agree with those big responses. I think being a Blue Valley School District really has an emphasis on stress, and especially like people in their junior year, hardest year.
Everyone can be affected by mental illness. Even if you don't have it yourself, someone around you may. There are many ways we can counter mental illness, and it's important that we make those treatment options available for those who need it.
I certainly think that mental health issues affect teens today. I see that in the students that I work with. I also remember feeling that way when I was a student myself here, and I think that those things are ever present, and it's just learning about how to cope with them.
Teens who have mental disorders tend to not do as well in school as teens who don't have any mental disorders. Anybody can have mental disorders. Anybody can be affected. Friends, family, people you don't know.
Tell me.
1 in 10 young people experience a period of major depression. 1 in 25 Americans live with a serious mental illness, such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or major depression.
Tell me.
1 in 10 young people experience a period of major depression. 1 in 25 Americans live with a serious mental illness, such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or major depression. About 450 million people suffer from mental and behavioral disorders worldwide. 5 of 10 leading causes of disability and premature death worldwide are psychiatric conditions. Social, biological, and neurological sciences have provided substantial insight into the role of risk and protective factors in the developmental pathways to mental disorders and poor mental health.
Mental disorders affect teens in a wide variety of ways, such as that teens with mental disorders can be looked at viewed differently than other people and bullied because of it. Blue Valley Northwest, like many other high schools, is filled with Blue Valley Northwest, like a lot of other high schools, is filled with very different social groups. Blue Valley Northwest, like all other high schools, has a wide variety of people and different mental disorders affect a wide variety of people. Like Blue Valley Northwest and every other high school, there are people that come from a wide variety of backgrounds. People with mental disorders are affected in Blue Valley Northwest through stereotypes and discrimination. People who have ADD are more prone to anxiety and depression than other people without ADD. Overall, a lot of people are affected by mental disorders. and can be easily picked out of the crowd because they're different, whether it is from depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, or any other wide range of mental disorders.